Welcome to the Law, Your Money, and You. I'm Roberta Sapphire, an attorney in Sharon, Massachusetts.
And I'm Camille Barron, a financial organizer also in Sharon, Massachusetts. And today we're going to be talking with some people who have a very special program serving some of these folks who, may not have a really good place to learn, and they provide services and educational programs for them.
Yes, and this is part of our financial literacy campaign, blah, 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 Brighten Up campaign. I got tongue-tied. But anyway, part of my tongue-tied is because we're so excited to have the two of you. We have Cheryl Opper, the founder of School on Wheels, and we have this brilliant child, Marc-Daniel Paul, and you'll find out why he's so brilliant, even more than he's likable. And there he is. Well, thank you both for coming. Cheryl, start off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So School on Wheels of Massachusetts, I started out in my home in Easton, right down the street off of Massapog. And it's a program that provides educational support services for students impacted by homelessness, kindergarten through college. And it's really to help provide the backpacks and school supplies, one-on-one tutoring and mentoring. We work with kids living in temporary shelters and family shelters, motels. We work with about 300 children a year, and we have 37 kids in college this year, and Marc-Daniel Paul is one of them. So, yeah.
Oh, wait,
And your services are...
This. Wait a minute.
Applause. Yeah.
So your services, are they supplemental services to their primary education?
Yes, absolutely. So all of our kids are enrolled in school, and all of the kids are in an after-school program. So we provide services in shelters and motels. We go to their temporary homes. That's why it's called School on Wheels. We meet with them in the evenings for an hour, and they work with the same tutor. So we train community volunteers.
Well, what's the after-school program? Give an example.
Yeah, so the after-school program, when we go into the shelters and we work with the children, is that we work on their homework, school projects, and now this time of the year we're getting ready to start our summer enrichment program, which is going to be a financial literacy program, and kindergarten through 5th grade, and then for our older kids, they will actually build their own business.
Well, let's go to Marc-Daniel first, and then we'll come back to that because he wants to say something. Tell us about your experience with School on Wheels.
Well, my experience with School on Wheels.
Well, tell us who you are first.
Well,
Where are you
I'm
from?
Marc. I'm Marc-Daniel Paul. I was born in Haiti. I moved to the United States when I was about 12 years old. First I lived in Florida for a couple of years, and then I moved to Massachusetts in 2009. And then I became acquainted with School on Wheels in the beginning of 2010 while we were living in a shelter in Massachusetts. So it was hard adjusting at first. We had to go through the whole process of housing, and we had to wait a while before we could actually get on our feet and, be normal again. So that's when we met School on Wheels, because they were going around to shelters and trying to tutoring students, providing them with the educational tools, whether it was backpacks or tutoring or any other school supplies that they really needed.
And what college do you go to?
I currently
you
go
need
to
5 hours, not a half hour. Where are you going now? Let everybody know.
I currently attend Suffolk University in Boston. I've just completed a bachelor's degree in political science, as well as a minor in pre-law.
And talk about
It's
your
called Applied
part-time,
Legal Study.
your part-time job.
Well, it's a combined program, and I'm starting the master's in September. And I also work for an attorney in Boston, for a law firm in Boston, Graves and Doyle. And I also work with the Law, Your Money, and You, as well as I'm also on the board of directors now for School on Wheels of Massachusetts.
That's wonderful.
Busy guy.
That's wonderful. Yeah, and he gets it all done with a smile. And tell him about your sister. Didn't you help his sister too?
Yeah, so Corinne graduated from UMass Dartmouth 2 years ago, and Neftali, his other sister, graduated from Bridgewater State, and his sister Milka will graduate from Bridgewater State University in December.
Yes.
So, and
Wow, what a family.
so they're very smart and very bright. His oldest sister is actually one of our college mentors. We have a college mentoring program for our students, and so now she is a mentor. She went through the program, and now she's a mentor for a student at UMass Boston.
Boy, God bless you. You got your living proof of what you
The
do.
families pay it forward, and especially the Paul family. They're very special, and they're all very bright. And
Except they name all the boys Mark.
yeah, Mark, Kendi,
Hyphen-
Mark,
Daniel.
Daniel.
That must be a little confusing.
Oh, okay, now go back, because I wanted to get that in. Go back to this K-5 financial literacy program that
Right.
you're doing.
So it's a junior achievement program that we are working with. So all of our tutors are trained volunteers, and so it's a junior achievement program that they've gone through the training with. It will start up the week of July 7th, and it will be a 6-week program. And so based on the age groups that we have, is we're going to be providing services at the family shelter. We work with the Old Colony Y. We work at the David John Lewison Center in Brockton, as well as the Family Life Center. And but we also work with Crescent Credit Union. We use their Employees Training Center to help service kids that have moved out of shelter into housing. And we want our students to stay with us for long periods of time. And once you're a School on Wheels student, you're always a student. So we've been with Marc-Daniel since he was a senior at Brockton High School, and now he's getting ready to start his master's program. So it's so wonderful to be able to see the growth and the confidence, and to see them now paying it forward. Marc-Daniel has also been a tutor for one of our students, so to see our students that we tutored now tutoring other kids.
Well, he speaks French, too. which is
Yeah.
his first
Well, let me ask this question. Let's pretend, Mark, that School on Wheels didn't exist. Can you give us a sense of what your experience would have been had you not had this opportunity?
Excellent question.
Had I not had the opportunity to meet with School on Wheels, you
To
mean?
be part of it, yes.
It's hard to think about what the experience would have been like, because meeting School on Wheels has opened so many doors, not just for myself, but for my family also.
Yeah?
So, I don't know, it's really hard to think about it. I just think it would have been a lot harder to go through the whole process of not having a home
Yeah.
while, you're young and you're going to school, and there's, a lot of things that you're supposed to be doing at a certain age that you can't really focus on being a kid
Yeah,
or being a
yeah.
teenager
Uh-huh.
because you're dealing with just so much. And School on Wheels has made it a lot easier to go through that process.
So, for instance, you mentioned school backpacks, right?
Right.
So, something as simple as having a school backpack or not, might that have been one of the things that might be different?
Definitely. When you think about it, you might just think, it's a backpack. But to the person who doesn't have it,
Yes.
it means a lot more.
Yes.
Really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like you said, something as simple as a backpack goes a long way, in making you feel a lot more confident, making you feel a lot better about, school itself, going to school, and just doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Wow. And what prompted you, Cheryl, to come up with this?
So I read an article in Family Circle magazine, and it was called Lessons in Love, and it was about the program at School on Wheels that started in California in 1993.
Yeah,
And
I saw that. I did
so
some
I
research.
was reading an article, and as I was looking at it, my daughter just started high school, and I was thinking, what am I going to do with the second half of my life? And after reading that article, I said, I'm going to bring School on Wheels to Massachusetts. And so
And you
that's what I
did.
did. We started it out of my home, backpacks and school supplies.
Where is it now?
It's we're in Brockton. So the majority of our program sites, we're in 6 different communities, but the majority of our program sites, the shelters and kids that we serve in the motels, are in Brockton. But we're also in Weymouth and Norwell, New Bedford, Stoughton, Randolph as well. And we're going to Fall River in the fall.
Oh.
So one of the things that I think is really important is that what School on Wheels does, and like Marc-Daniel was saying, is that, you know, to have the things that you need. We want to equalize the playing field for our kids experiencing homelessness.
But that's a nice expression, equalize the playing field.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
that our kids, and that's why I started School on Wheels, is that I wanted our kids to have the same resources as my daughter had.
Yeah.
So not just the backpack and the school supplies, but the books, and to pay for, we pay for prom, we pay for a yearbook. Why should our kids not have a yearbook? You know, why shouldn't our kids be able to play sports? You know, we nominated Marc-Daniel Paul to go to a student leadership conference in Washington, D.C. That's where his career started, you know, we believe,
that
as
nice?
a senior in high school. But we want our kids to soar, not just to get by in school and to get caught up on the lessons they've missed, is we want them to reach their full potential.
Well, I know what you're saying, too, is probably that School on Wheels let him, but I know that Marc-Daniel, with the law firm that he works with, is really more than just a young kid's job, but didn't they send you to a seminar or something and pay for it?
Yeah, they send us to training regularly, myself and the other paralegal at
Yeah,
my
see,
job.
I mean, he's a paralegal now. I mean, that's important. You
Right.
just don't send anybody there. I don't know if you realize it, but you don't pay for somebody's seminar. Those things are expensive unless they really know that you can do a job and that you do a good job. And speaking about the books, we were doing it on the, I don't know if you got to be kidding or something, but when I went to school 5 million years ago, we had to buy new books, except I didn't buy the new books. I bought an old book there, and somebody would say, it's the same, they just change a paragraph. And, you know, and they're changing a word, and they make you buy a new book, except they're expensive. But this, I know that Marc-Daniel, and you should tell us about this. Here's a newspaper clipping on a bill to try to.
This is his second bill, so
Yeah. Well, tell
I
us
think
about
he
the
should tell you
first
about
bill.
his first
Let's
bill,
hear about the
because
first
it
bill,
really
and then the second bill.
The
Yeah.
second bill's on textbooks, but tell
Yeah,
us
tell
about
the
the first
one.
bill.
Well, they all relate to education. It's one thing that I'm really passionate about, and my family is really big on education. They think that it's the most important tool that you really should have growing up. So the first bill that I worked on dealt with health insurance, and particularly the financial burden on students going to college. So the reason, what prompted me to start working on it really, is because I had to go through it myself when I was receiving my financial package for college, and that I would see, every time I would receive it, I would see that the price for my healthcare would be included in that package when I already had healthcare. So, and the thing is, I did not know. There was no sort of resource in place for me to go to find out what I should be doing, how I should, go ahead and waive the insurance. I did not even know that I could waive it. So I just thought that there should be some, proper guidelines in place to sort of guide students, so that if they are able to waive their insurance because they already have insurance, so that they would be able to do that. And also basically just to educate them about it. So I, at the time I was working for Senator Montigny, state senator for New Bedford, and I went to him and I, presented the idea to him about, amending the laws to make it a lot clearer for students having to go through this. And it turns out that there was another intern in the office as well who had noticed the same issue the year before. And then we started working together, putting up an amendment. And then the senator, he was so passionate about it as well. He worked on it with us. We presented the amendment to the Senate.
Wow.
It passed.
Yes.
That's
And then
fantastic.
it went to the House. It passed. The governor
Wow.
signed it.
One experience.
So
That is
that was
amazing.
great.
Here's another one.
And the governor
Just
signed
so
it
you-
into law.
The governor signed it into law.
Yeah. I love that machine. I want to get one of those.
And so now what's the next one?
I want one.
I just used it for this show and the last show. And
It's good.
it'll drive people crazy after a while. Yeah, what's
So
the
what's the
next one?
second? What's the
that's
second
that
bill
one.
that you?
The second bill that I'm still working on it. I'm not quite sure where the progress is with that yet. I still have to check in with the legislators to see
Well,
what's
apparently
happening.
it's going, something's going
Because
through
it's in
from
the
you.
paper.
Yeah, I'm surprised as you are to notice it in the paper today. This bill basically deals with the price of college textbooks, and a lot of people don't notice it, especially if you've been in school and you're done, you're working. You don't really pay attention to the increase in the price of textbooks. Something like over the past couple of decades, it has increased something about over 800%, I believe, in my research. And I worked on this with Kamisha Luchur, who is a fellow classmate of mine that I graduated with from Brockton High. And we worked on a few, we researched the issue, and we worked on a few steps to try to limit the increase and basically try to regulate it, because we felt as though there was no control, in the in book prices. Basically, we weren't sure if there was even something or some sort of mechanism in place to regulate textbook prices. So we wanted some regulation into that, because college students have to deal with the burden of buying books every semester, and the price is just increasing every semester.
Yeah, and what they do is we're so concerned with tuition and how much it costs to go there that they forget about these book prices. The publishers, I think it's the publishers, of course it's the publishers, they want their new books bought every year. They don't want them passed on. That's the problem.
So some of our students actually, when they're in college, they don't buy the textbooks, and they actually try to get by without using them and just borrowing them, and then we see their grades plummet.
Oh.
So we say to them is that we help them access
them with the
college,
books.
and then we help pay for books, we help pay for dorm supplies, we help pay for housing deposits, help them with their financial aid forms. But what we noticed is that when Marc-Daniel passed that law, is that our students couldn't go full-time. If you were full-time, you had to pay the $1,400 to $1,800 for student health insurance. So our students were going part-time till Marc-Daniel passed this law. So he is helping our students now be able to go full-time, waive the insurance because they're on their parents' health Medicare insurance. So they don't need to have the student health insurance. And so I'm so proud every time I go to an admissions office and I'm working with financial aid and they say, well, the student has to have health insurance. I said, oh no, there's a law now that our student, Marc-Daniel,
Really congratulations.
it's so huge. And for somebody to see injustice and to do something about it,
Right.
is really
Where does the funding
inspiring.
come from for School on Wheels?
So our funding is private funding. We have from individuals, corporations, foundations. We do a couple different events during the year, but most of our funding comes from different businesses in the communities that we serve, as well as foundations and the civic organizations. And in fact, Sharon Rotary just purchased, I forget how many hundreds of dictionaries to put in our summer backpacks. So that is really terrific. So.
Yeah, I saw that there was a whole thing whether they had to round it out. They wanted to make sure they had, because I helped my husband there. But anyway,
So I think
they
you're
had to
right.
round
it's
out
about
because they come by the dozens or
Yeah.
24 in a case or something.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think that 12 or 24 in a case would make a difference in how many you buy, because you can't buy the exact amount. You have to buy the case.
And they're
It's
really
crazy.
terrific dictionaries. These are student dictionaries, and if you think about it, our kids don't have the iPads
Not
and
that
the
much.
laptops, and
No.
and they need to have that information.
How big is that dictionary?
It's a student dictionary. It's a paperback dictionary, but it's specifically a student dictionary from the Dictionary Project, and so they're less expensive than if we went to, Staples or somewhere to get.
I'm talking about, like, I had nothing. I had to pay. I always, my claim to fame is nobody did anything for me. I paid my own way. But I remember when I graduated law school and the fellow I was working for, he says, what do you want? I says, I want a Black's Law Dictionary. And it was $45, which was like half a week's pay. And I got that. I was so thrilled with it. I still have it to this
That's
day.
special.
I'm very, very careful of every little page.
No kidding.
But yeah, my Black's Law Dictionary.
That's
my
great.
Now, you had
prize.
mentioned the financial
I bet it's
literacy.
600 today.
Is there something that drew you to focus on financial literacy for this group of students, for homeless
Absolutely.
students versus other students, for
Yeah.
instance?
And one of our training sites, or one of our tutoring sites, is downtown Crescent Credit Union. They're loaning us their training center, but the parents are invited to come and participate. So it's not just for the kids. We're inviting the parents to come to participate in the program and really learn financial literacy skills as well. So it's the first time for us to do a parent-child program at the same time.
These the homelessness and things like that. Do you ever find that there are children who want to better themselves and the parents want to stay right where they are?
Well,
You ever
the
have
parents
that?
care so deeply about their kids
they
and their
do?
education. They absolutely do. They're overwhelmed.
Oh,
They're in a
that's
survival
wonderful.
mode. They're trying to figure out where they're going to be living. You know, our kids move 2, 3, 4 times in a year. And,
keep
and
in
the
touch with them.
instability. So we want to provide that anchor. We want to provide that stability, that during a time of chaos and turmoil, that we are providing that stability around their education. And the parents, we help pay for the parents to get a cab to go to the parent-teacher conference. We go with them for that. We provide school advocacy. But the parents care, and they're excited to get help for their kids. In fact, we started a post-shelter program when kids moved out because the parents called us and said, we need you, and my kids were doing so much better, and how can I get my child help now that we've moved out? So we started a post-shelter service
Isn't that
program.
wonderful? And I bet all
And
your
they were advocating for
all
their kids.
your staff and everybody has to be as warm and caring as you are.
We've
in-
got
in
a dynamite
producing.
staff and wonderful volunteers. We train over 300, 400 volunteers
No
a year. We have a
kidding.
volunteer right here in the studio who,
But
who is fantastic.
He also is with the Law Your Money and You.
Yeah. So it's amazing. We have volunteers of all ages that are part of our
Yeah.
program, but we especially work closely with Stonehill College and Bridgewater State College and recruit a lot of volunteers.
And what are your goals for the particular outcomes on this financial literacy
So
program
each of the
for these
kids will
students?
actually build their own business. I mean, they'll work together as a group, so they'll learn how to, during the tutoring year, during the school year, they work one-on-one with their individual tutors. But for this program, they'll learn to work together as a team, and that they'll be able to build their own business.
fascinating.
They're going to talk about how much money they will be making for the older kids, and this is how they would pay their bills, and how they manage their money, and the checkbook, and all of those kinds of things. So it's exciting. It's our first time to
Yeah.
do that, and we're really excited to partner with Junior Achievement.
We started a Brighten Up campaign. Actually, we did a financial literacy panel 4 years ago, before it was even fashionable. But we started up a Brighten Up campaign, and we were mentioning about Junior Achievement. I think that's wonderful what you're doing.
Because they provide the programming for free for us, and so yeah.
But they might, you might have too, like the Credit for Life Fair and Financial Literacy Fair that the state. Have you availed yourself of that?
We
As a
have
state?
it. Massasoit Community College offers a lot of financial literacy programs for our students, so that we work with them as well. And we, the shelters themselves have different kinds of programs and case managers that work with
Oh,
the
is
parents.
that wonderful? The state of Massachusetts is in the forerunner of many things. One is anti-violence, the other is financial literacy. They have a tools kit that they give, which a lot of states don't do. So that's good.
That's really
but
good.
we're going into our You've Got to Be Kidding. But part of our You've Got to Be Kidding is that we tell you something and you say you've got to be kidding. But more than that, what we've been doing lately, this is the Got to Be Kidding bag, is bringing out things that our viewers have shown us. In hints that we give to people. So here's one about good deeds, like if people. Oh, she could put her
I got to put my
glasses on.
glasses on.
Yeah, that's hers. And then there's this one that
Yes.
people don't know about.
So this is for people who, if they're looking for a land record or title to a property, those sorts of things, the Norfolk County Registry of Deeds is a place to
Yeah.
go, and the
Up
registry
Plymouth,
will
if you're in Plymouth.
they will help people out in getting whatever documentation they need.
Yeah, without paying somebody. There's
So
this
it's a
thing
free
of the
service.
scams. You know, there's scams. We're pointing out scams to watch out for. If somebody says, "Well, I'll do it for you for $50," you don't have to pay anybody. And also, Bill O'Donnell of the Norfolk Deed's been on the show.
He was one of
quite
our
a few
first guests,
times.
wasn't he?
He was the first
He
guest.
was.
And-
5 years ago.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah, we're celebrating at the end of our 5 years. But I mean, he'll tell you too. There's so many different scams that come out. But here's another one on the prizes and lottery. That's one of the newest ones that we've gotten. We distribute like information. You know, like if you win a lottery.
It says you won a foreign lottery.
Oh, a
Okay.
foreign lottery.
So it says if you have to send $250 to claim your prize, odds are it's a scam. Don't risk it.
Yeah.
In a foreign lottery. So it isn't just the local
local lottery.
lottery.
And you're supposed to say you've got to be kidding.
You've got to be kidding.
You got to be kidding.
Yeah, no. And is there anything else in here? No, that's it for today, except for the books. You know, people
Who did you
say,
work with?
yeah, we were asked about that too, because people say that this fellow Joe watches the show, his kid's going into college, he couldn't believe the price of the textbooks.
Oh yeah,
Never mind the tuition.
they're ridiculously high. And the thing is, a lot of times, a lot of colleges, students would buy textbooks at the beginning of a semester. They would buy it for, a high price, and then at the end of the semester, let's say they barely used the book and they tried to return it, they would get sometimes 2% of what they paid for to buy it, or 3%. So
Well, one of our people started up a website. Actually, in UMass Amherst, he started up a website where they sell used books. You know, going back and forth, that they could do it. And say you've got to be kidding.
You got to be
No, and
kidding.
they did
That's
very
awesome.
well with that.
do you know the website?
I can send it to you. That's Alex Hirsch.
Oh,
started
that's
it.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
I'll give his father a plug. His father also partook in when they were doing a financial fair, but he does strategic relations. There's an attorney who he said he liked to get the business, but he didn't like to work on it. So he now tells people how to do strategic relationships, and I'll pass on to you what we get something from every guest. His was care and show that you care, and you'll get
Nice.
business.
Nice.
So with that, I'm going to let Camille.
Sure. Well, this has
Mrs.
been
Camille
really,
wind up.
really heartwarming.
Yeah.
That you took the initiative, Cheryl, to start this, and that you have one amazing success, and I'm sure there are others as well. We really, really admire what you've both done. And for our viewers, we have this wonderful program. It's an ongoing program for financial literacy called Brighten Up, and we really encourage you to participate. Send us an email and we'll send you information. And we also have an anti-violence campaign that we're just starting up as well. So if you're interested in supporting that, we'd love to have you on the program and talk with you more. The point is, we want to make sure that you have the opportunity and we have the opportunity to provide what you need to hear for financial and legal issues. So let us hear from you, because remember, this is your show, The Law, Your Money, and you.